Art Hains along with Wyatt Wheeler. We are here with you at Battery Outfitters on South Campbell at Plainview Road on another very chilly, icy late afternoon here in the fall. Back with you on Sports Talk at Battery Outfitters on South Campbell at Plainview Road. Pleased to be joined now by Eric Blum from the Columbia Daily Tribune. Eric, how are things today in Como?
Really cold. Yeah, it snowed here yesterday, obviously, and it's better than that. But things are going well work-wise, personal-wise. Everything's, as status quo as it can be in a pandemic. Hope things are going well for you, Art, as well.
So the Tigers now with 2 wins in a row in obviously polar opposite ways to win. They outscored LSU, only had a goal line stand at the end to preserve that high-scoring victory. And then last Saturday, they run 92 plays to Kentucky's 36 and played ball control and won that way. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, the most interesting stat coming out of that Kentucky game was Larry Roundtree had 37 carries. Kentucky had 36 offensive plays. Just when you look at time of possession, Missouri had 43 minutes, 10 seconds, and then Kentucky had 16 minutes, 50 seconds. Just a complete domination, and I think the difference in that game was the third quarter, the drive to open up the second half. Although Missouri did not score on that drive, it took 10 minutes off the clock. They converted 3 fourth downs, and just from that series on, Kentucky's defense just looked a step short. They looked a little tired. That a couple players went down with cramps, and it just looked like Missouri could force their way and really keep their offense on the field, keep their defense fresh. And so while the LSU win definitely jumps off the paper more, and there's only so many firsts a team can get, first win to Eli Drinkwitz, first win over a ranked opponent, first, a lot of things. The Kentucky win might be a little more substantive going forward, considering the Tigers play the Wildcats every year.
So now what's the outlook for Florida this week? Obviously, the odds makers consider the Gators a 2-touchdown favorite.
Yeah, I still think Florida's going to win the game. I think Missouri will cover that spread. There's something to be said about just playing the game of football. I've always been a believer that, you have to be in prime shape. You have to be playing the game and practicing the game consistently. No matter how good Florida is, Monday was their first full, almost, I guess, whatever full is for them right now, their first organized team practice in 2 weeks. And the last time they played was a loss. And they have things to work on, guaranteed. So I'm not expecting to see a lights-out dynamic, maybe good enough to play in the SEC championship game, Florida. I still think Florida at about 80% is better than Missouri. So I think that game might be closer than 2 touchdowns, but Florida still wins comfortably in the end at home. I think around 10 is where I would consider the spread in my head to be, not 2 touchdowns.
Have they said yet about fan attendance at Mizzou Arena for basketball games yet? Is it going to be similar to football with a certain percentage?
I imagine it might actually be a little bit lower of a percentage. I think for football it's up to 20%. I'm thinking for basketball because of just how the health experts have done it. The one similar example I can take is Kansas, and they put it at 18%, up to 18% for Allen Fieldhouse. I think Missouri at Mizzou Arena will do 15 to 18% is probably about right because it's easier to transmit the virus indoors. And obviously you can be in much, much closer contact with players sitting courtside, which I'm pretty sure will go away, than you could. There's a track, obviously, around Faurot Field. So it's easier to be in close contact with players. So I think that a lot of those things are still going to be worked out. I wouldn't even mind seeing like a plexiglass like it's hockey around the basketball arena. I think that might be a really smart thing to do for basketball this year, and we'll see. But, yeah, just nothing has truly been announced in those efforts yet, but that's one of the things that I keep checking daily for is when we get some basketball news.
Eric, we appreciate your time as always, sir. Stay safe.
Thank you, Art. Appreciate it.
Hey, Art. This is Alan.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Alan.
Hey, what do you think about the Cardinals retaining Albert? I was a little questionable on that with the lack of hitting this year. And also, what do you think about the Cardinals front office? They really botched some of the outfield moves and some of the other free agent moves that they set down the road, and they prospered where they went. What do you think about that? I'll just get your feelings. I'll hang up.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, their hitting has been an issue here for a number of years. And, of course, John Mabry made his way across the state with Matheny to Kansas City. And that remains to be seen how that's going to work out, the old hitting coach. But, yeah, oh, my. You look at the current Cardinal outfield, which is not impressive. I mean, Fowler he's a good player. He's not worth the money that he's getting, and you could speak to that, having formerly been with the Cubs. And Harrison Bader, I like Tyler O'Neill, but Arozarena is really sticking out like a sore thumb now what he's doing. I mean, Tommy Pham was in the playoffs in San Diego. Mercado now with the Indians, they were in the playoffs. Yeah, they have culled the herd of a lot of outfield prospects that have gone on and had great success in other uniforms.
And you see some of the numbers that have come out here. Arozarena has more hits this postseason than Harrison Bader had all the regular season. So, I mean, there are some things that are, I mean, there's a lot of things where you can just point at the Cardinals front office and just be like, oh, this name's been great. This name's been great. We all know that with Luke Voigt, of course, just knowing how much the area loved him. So, I mean, that's really been something that stuck out to a lot of people, and it's I saw some surprise when they announced they were keeping the coaching staff intact, but I'm sure that is something that's frustrating for a lot of people right now.
Back with you for hour number 2 of Sports Talk on a Tuesday at Battery Outfitters on South Campbell at Plainview Road. And pleased to be joined now by Springfield Public Schools Athletic Director Josh Scott. Josh, how are you today?
Hey, doing great, Art. Thanks for having me.
You bet. So, football not quite over yet. Obviously, the district playoffs begin this week, and some of the other fall sports are winding down. But basketball not too far away. And I know you and Marty Marsh and the rest of your staff have been looking at protocols for basketball. Kind of tell us where we stand with that.
Yeah, we've just started working on that, actually, within our 5 schools, our high schools and our middle schools. We started moving some middle school games to some high school venues just to give some more space and some seating. And through the Ozark Conference, we've kind of worked out a voucher system for families and significant family members to players so that we can have about, somewhere around 150 home fans, 150 road fans that have a guaranteed ticket, and then be able to put on sale for our general public other tickets up to our 50% occupancy level.
So will those be available on a walk-up basis on the night of games?
Yes, yeah. Those will all be, it'll be just a little bit different than, varsity football games, Art. We will be selling, some tickets the night of the event, and we're just going to make sure that we don't approach or come too close to that 50% seating level so that people are able to space out and separate from each other.
When do the games begin?
Well, practice starts on Monday, the 2nd, so we will have 3 weeks of preseason, and that's really what we're anxious to get through. And so the first game will be available that Friday, 3 weeks after the 2nd, which, looking on the calendar, that would be November 20th. So basketball could tip off across the state on that Friday.
So the Bass Pro Tournament of Champions, though, will still be on, correct?
Yes, sir. We are still committed to having the event for the community, for our school. It is such a great event. It's such an outstanding partnership. It's going to look different, but everything in 2020 has looked different. And we have some great teams committed to come in, and we're trying to find ways to host it and work in great partnership with JQH and MSU, and still offer some availability for people to view it, whether maybe not necessarily in person, but maybe we can do something else to try and get that footage out to everybody.
Pink and white is still on, I understand, and though it's not your tournament, the blue and gold at the same time.
Yeah, the pink and white we are excited about. We do partner 50% with Greenwood on the pink and white Lady Classic. We've been working feverishly with that. We have another check-in coming up in another week or so with Drury, but right now we're committed to still having that event. Our girls in Southwest Missouri deserve to have that event. And again, not sure that it will look like it has traditionally looked, but we have some things up our sleeves that hopefully will break out in the next couple of weeks, and we're pretty excited about it.
Josh, we appreciate it. Continued good health and success for SPS as we make the transition from the fall sports into the winter.
Hey, Art, I really appreciate it. Even you too, Wyatt. Thanks for being on here, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. Wyatt, we'll see you Thursday.
Yeah, miss you already.
All right, that'll do it for Sports Talk from Battery Outfitters, and we'll talk to you tomorrow on ESPN The Jock.